This is Dan Havey, and here we're talking about simplifying securities reporting. We're co-hosting this with Slavik from TPG. Slavik, why don't you tell the folks a little bit about your background and what TPG does?
So TPG provides bank treasury operations software. Primarily, we focus on a bond portfolio. We also have the derivatives. So it all evolves around investment accounting, regulatory reporting, some analytics, operational efficiencies, and so forth.
Let's talk about the tool I'm going to be using today to do automated securities reporting. It's a tool called BI360. And if you'll look on the bottom layer, the gray row, if you will, these are your various data silos, sources of information. Obviously, you have securities information coming from TPG software. Another source of data that for a lot of our clients is obviously their core system. Lots of folks have information that's stored in Excel spreadsheets or just data warehouse. So all these data sources are all over the place. And what BI360 provides is a SQL Server data warehouse. It could be on-premise. It could be on Microsoft Azure Cloud. Either one, the tool works the same in both places. But it allows you to bring all your data into a common place. And then the green layer is the reporting or the write-back feature, dashboarding features. So BI360, is all-encompassing data warehouse with reporting, budgeting, and dashboarding solutions. Again, today what I'm going to be focusing on is using that information that Slavik provides, all that bond portfolio tracking positions, all that kind of information, bring it in the data warehouse, and then provide some easy-to-build reports using BI360. The flow of the presentation today is I'm going to talk about the web portal experience. How do I get these reports, on the web? Look at the data model. Once I'm getting data from folks like TPG, how do I put it together? How do I put it in a warehouse? I'll open up the Excel-based report template builder to actually build a report against that data, and then just bring it all together. So here's the web portal. You'll notice it's a URL. You just log in. If you're using this as an on-premise solution, you'll just have the web server on in-house, if you will. Obviously, if you're doing it on cloud, well, Microsoft Azure will host it there. Here with the web portals, you can have 1 user, 5 users, 20 users. Everybody's publishing reports, and you can have a couple hundred reports very quickly. So what you're going to do is you're going to organize folders. I have a folder here for forecast, for budgeting. And I've got some here on my investment performance reports. And so I'll go ahead and pull up some of these. I go ahead and pick one of these reports, and I'll pick my investment securities summary report. Once I have a template, okay, securities summary portfolio, I'm looking at book values, the book value yield compared to the market value. And so I can choose the customer, I can choose the time frame and scenarios. Let me talk about scenarios. In the data warehouse, you can have an unlimited number of scenarios. Obviously, actuals, budgets, forecasts are the most classic. But you may have an 18-month rolling forecast. You may have a quarterly forecast. You may have a lot of what-if scenarios. You may have the strategic 5-year plan. You may have the asset liability model. So many different types of scenarios. Obviously, I'm just picking on the actual here. And then I'll go ahead and pick my period. So let's say I'm done with March and I want to go after April information. Go ahead and click April, hit refresh, and it's just simply going to ping the data warehouse and bring back the fields that satisfy the report. Now you'll notice the look and feel is an Excel background, and once again, that's because the report's created in Excel, and once I've got that report, I'll publish it up to the web. Every cell is drillable, so let's say I'm looking at my agency notes. I do a right mouse click, it's going to pull up the individual records, actuals, the entity, the period, the book value, QSIP numbers, all sorts of good stuff that that TPG would be sending you on a monthly basis, be it a CSV file, an Excel file, maybe a table. You're just simply going to bring it all into the data warehouse. So that's an example of looking at my securities summary, sort of a snapshot book value to my market value. Another neat report I've done is looking at the trend. How my securities portfolio doing over time? So it's just looking at January through July information, charts, graphs, all this are just simple Excel skills, but the beauty is it's bringing all that information in from the data warehouse. So that's the web portal experience, all sorts of types of reports. Here's another one I think that's kind of cool, is the securities reconciliation to the general ledger. So again, each template, each tab is not married to one data source. In this instance, I'm looking at my securities portfolio that Slavic's team is providing us on a monthly basis. And one of the nice things he provides is general ledger transactions. I'm using that to load my debits and credits into my general ledger. And so I'm pulling this report, I'm pulling what the general ledger balances is for my CMOs versus the individual instruments that are in my table, my securities table, over time. And if something's out of balance, it'll just kick out an out of balance number, and it'll be in red. So that's an example of the web portal, just how you can arrange the reports, make it very easy to find stuff. But to get started, you obviously have to organize all this information into data files. So I'm going to flip over to Excel. And here's a file that Slavic was kind enough to send me. It's basically listing my my portfolio records for a specific month. Slavic, what are some of the other ways that you're sending information out to your clients other than CSV files? What's some other ways that TPG will publish this information?
So typically we can provide customized extract. We can do it via Excel. We can do it via XML. And we're not limited to this data that obviously that we are showing here.
So the data warehouse is very much like Microsoft Access. If you're familiar with Access, one of the beauties of Microsoft Access is you can take those same those external data files that are Excel, CSV, fixed delimited text, and import it as an external data file. So the same thing, I imported some of this market valuation information that Slavic had sent me. I just imported it into the data warehouse, and then it allows me to very quickly interrogate the data. It's just bringing in that CSV file that I was showing a little bit earlier that was in Excel. It's bringing it as is into the data warehouse. Once you've got it into the data warehouse, then you're going to want to go ahead and create a report. So here I am in Excel, and you'll notice BI 360 exists as an add-in to Excel. And you'll notice it shows me all those tables that were in the data warehouse that I have access to, the general ledger, revenues, benchmarking information. So this is the information that Slavic had sent me. And so I'm just going to go ahead and build a quick and dirty report. So let's say I want to bring in account. I'll bring in the description of the account. And then the scenario. I mentioned earlier scenarios. And period. So let's go with period. And let's go ahead to the layout editor. And what I want to do is I want to do the first several months of this year. So I'll just pick out my period range. And I can make this a live parameter or a fixed parameter, but just for ease sakes, I'm just simply going to drop it in. Let's say I want it for actuals this year. So I want my trended securities for 6 months, and then my balances. Let's go to my balances. And it could be all, book value, market value, yields, all sorts of good stuff. I'm going to go with, let's say, book value 1. Let's just see what we got here. Let's just go ahead and run it and see what we get here. So very quickly, it's easy to drag and drop stuff, and boom, boom, boom. So I got my account description, or my account number, the description, the value, the agencies, and then if I just want to drill into here, those are all the certificates, the QSIPs, all that good stuff. Just a few clicks away. It's just right there at my fingertips. And then obviously I spend a little bit more time building this information. And here all I did is just simply drug in the securities information on top, the general ledger information on the bottom, so you can have two different Data sources, 3 different, 20 different data sources. However much information you want to load into the report as possible. When I'm ready to run this, click it. Here I actually entered a couple of parameters, and let's say I want to reconcile my CMOs to my general ledger. So I'll go ahead and run it. And now it's got all my CMOs, certificates, my general ledger balance, and there's my, and I'm in balance. That's a beautiful thing. Once I've built my report that I'm very happy with, I like the look and feel, it's been vetted by a few folks, I'm going to come back here and just simply hit the, go back into the design mode, say upload this report up to the web portal, and then boom, it's right back out onto the web portal, and now I can start arranging it into the folders I like, whether it's a favorites, any of that type of stuff. So that's it. I know I raced through it really, really quickly, but it's, it's pretty straightforward. Once you've got your securities portfolio ironed out, then you can start branching out and do all sorts of cool stuff. Here might be an example of, say, a balanced scorecard, where rather than just simply securities and general ledger, now I'm bringing in all sorts of good information, loan production, deposit information, profitability information, various metrics and measures, households, things of that nature. All right, well, I'm going to head back to our PowerPoint screen here. Again, this is Dan Havey and Slavik. Thank you for your attentiveness, and hope you have a great rest of the day. Bye-bye.